Welcome to Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. This is not your typical financial radio show. As a licensed CPA, insurance agent, and investment advisory representative, Chris coaches his clients on a holistic view of financial well-being with an objective of providing a complete financial strategy to fund life's goals. Chris is here to guide you down the path to the financial serenity you deserve. Now, here's Chris Cooper.
All right. Good morning. Happy Sunday. So I just found out off air, I am sitting here with a fellow Parkway West Longhorn alumni, Caroline Stolzer. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. So Caroline is one of the up-and-coming attorneys in the St. Louis area, according to an article I just read. So that's pretty exciting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Parkway West alum, that's pretty fun. This St. Louis is such a small community. I mean, we're just sitting here talking, being from St. Louis, and I'm like, hey, I got to ask, where'd you grow up? And she starts naming, street corners, and I'm like, hey, I know that area.
Right.
Next thing you know, that's kind of how this works in this community. Isn't it?
Yeah. What high school did you go to? That's the first question you have to ask.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. And so then you went to SLU, right, from there?
So I went to Mizzou for undergrad,
Okay.
and then for law school, I went to SLU.
Nice.
Yes.
Now, I was just at a Mizzou football game for the first time since I went there. And I played rugby for
Awesome.
Mizzou, so I love Mizzou, big fan, and went to one of the games. I hadn't been to a game in a while.
Was it the Kansas game?
It was not the Kansas game.
I was going to say,
that
what
was
a game.
What a game. I did watch that on my patio, though. A lot of fun. Seems like it's going to be a fun season for him, for sure.
Yes.
But man, it's. I forgot what that atmosphere is like. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And, now I'm an old guy, so I go and I do the whole 90-minute drive on 70 all there and back in one day. It's kind of a little different, but that's what happens when you got kids and family, right?
Yeah.
So-
You got to get back to St. Louis.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
okay. That's all right. So, all right. So tell us a little bit about this specific type of law you practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work at Beck, Lenox Stolzer.
Mhm.
We focus specifically on estate planning and elder law.
Yep.
So I think most people know what estate planning involves.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's really important. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, go ahead. So then there's this elder law component.
Elder
right?
law, I think, is more niche and people don't necessarily know what that means. A lot of
Yeah.
times people think, oh, well, does that involve, elder abuse or elder neglect? Not on our end.
Right.
That's not at all what we
Unfortunately,
are
we
assisting
hear
with.
about that.
We do.
And it associates with that. But yeah, that's not not the
Exactly.
same.
No, not at all. We assist people with getting their affairs in order so that their assets can be protected,
Yeah.
so that they can be eligible for VA benefits or Medicaid benefits
Yeah.
to assist with paying for long-term care.
Right.
And so we do that via using different trust strategies,
Mhm.
helping with the families, just making sure that everybody is on the same page with what the future could potentially hold. We don't necessarily know that they're going to need long-term care,
Right.
but we want to set it up so that they will be in the right place at that point.
Absolutely. And it is a very important conversation. There's a legal side of it. And I have the exact same conversations with people, but on the financial side, because if you are not talking on the financial side about what can happen to your assets with long-term care concerns, you're not having the right conversations. And you see it firsthand, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's awful.
Yeah.
The expense is terrible. It drains portfolios so fast. And quite frankly, what you really want to be focusing on is the quality of care for your loved one.
Absolutely.
And
And
I think that's
unfortunately,
what you talk about on the legal side too.
yes,
you know?
yes, yeah. So unfortunately, we do see some people come in and it's too late.
Yeah.
So we really want to catch them on the front end
Right.
when they're really not concerned. They're not facing a health crisis yet.
Yeah.
And they're getting things in order for the future. It's almost like insurance planning.
Right.
So just making sure that things are set up properly so that they're not waiting until their assets are dwindling before they're doing something about
Yeah.
things.
Well, you've got to have I like to talk about insurance too. You have to. It's a tool in our tool chest. Is it right for everybody? Not every situation, of course. Some people won't qualify, but if you can leverage risk, it's important. But health concerns and health risk does not factor in to the legal documents of getting things in order.
Oh,
right?
no, absolutely
Yeah.
not. Absolutely not. So if somebody comes in and there is any concern on their end about paying for future long-term care, which majority of people should be concerned about paying
We
for
should.
future long-term
Absolutely.
care.
I mean, I'm in my 40s. I have a plan in place. I've
Awesome.
already, but I know, right? I've seen
Right.
it. It's what I do. I'm not ashamed to have these conversations. And quite
Right.
frankly, we need to be less ashamed of having these conversations.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, we love to see people on the front end so that we can get everything in place for them in advance. For Medicaid, there's a 5-year look back. For VA, there's a 3-year look back. So you have to make it through that look back that your assets have been protected in a trust for that long
Mm-hmm.
before it really protects you
That's
and
right.
your family.
That's right. So, all right. So having that conversation in advance, probably getting your family on board is probably pretty important too, isn't it?
100%. We always advise, I guess, parents, clients to bring their kids or their loved ones that they may be thinking of naming in those decision maker roles. Bring them with you to the meeting.
Yeah.
Or if they do not live locally, include them via Zoom or
Right.
phone call or something like that, just to make sure that everybody that's going to eventually maybe be involved is involved in that initial conversation and understands what's going on.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people will come in and they'll say, hey, I'm going to be fine. It is what it is. If I need care, Medicaid's going to pay for that.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
You have to look poor on paper is what they say.
Yes, you do.
Right?
Yeah. You have to look like, so if you're a married couple, there's such thing as the division of assets.
Yeah.
But if you're an individual, it has to look like you have about $6,000 to your name. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and if it's a couple, it's a little bit higher than that. I'm a rounding guy, right? So I give somebody just a general rule, about 160 is roughly, it changes with inflation, but just call it 160, right? Is about how much you have to have. And if you have more than that, that's when those spin down rules do apply.
Exactly.
Fortunately, we have the ability to get kind of creative and help people qualify for Medicaid benefits sooner.
Yes.
But it's much better to plan in advance, do some things in advance so that you don't need those strategies, because those strategies aren't always ideal.
Exactly.
Right? We'd rather have some different quality of care potentially. But for some people, that's the hand we're dealt. And that's what we have to do. So we help people get there faster.
Yes.
So you don't have to do the spin down, do you?
No, you don't have to do the spend down as long as you have taken advantage of these strategies in
That's
advance.
Right. That's right. So and you have to know about them, and most people unfortunately do not. And putting things into action are always tough, but that's where you engage with elder law specific folks, and quite frankly on the financial side as well. So we work with these guys very well on the same kind of strategy, so I know exactly the kind of things she's talking about here. So so what gets you into this? Into elder law, estate planning. Yeah.
So a lot of my family members are already attorneys. So originally I went to law school just because I knew
it's in the family business.
Yeah. I knew how satisfying and, rewarding the practice of law can be.
Sure.
My great grandpa, my grandma, my dad, and mom. Now, actually, my younger sister, we are all attorneys.
Wow.
But
that's got to be an interesting Thanksgiving conversation.
Yeah. I think the non-attorneys get a little bit annoyed. But yes, there's a lot of legal discussions that are involved.
Yeah.
But I think that's what initially sparked my interest to go to law school. I knew that I didn't want to be a trial attorney. That's not who I am as a person.
Yeah.
I'm not a confrontational person. I don't want to go to court every day.
Yeah.
So I always knew I wanted to do something more on the corporate side. And when I was interviewing for jobs after law school, I interviewed with what at the time was Beck and Lenox.
Yeah.
And it was just a perfect fit. They literally called me that day and offered me the position as, at that time, an associate attorney.
That's great.
But at that time, I really didn't know a whole lot about the elder law side. And it kind of made me a little nervous because I wasn't really sure what I was doing at first.
Yeah.
But it's ended up being the side of the practice that I enjoy the most.
Sure.
Because you really get to to see the results and how it makes the family feel more at ease about their parents and the future. So the elder law side is huge for us, but going into it, I did not know that I wanted to be an elder law attorney.
Well, when you think attorneys, you think A Few Good Men or something like that, right? You think the trial side of things, and the reality of you sitting there going, I don't want to be in trials. I don't want to go to court. I don't want that confrontation. Well, the cool thing is in what you do, you're actually ensuring that the people you help don't go to court.
Exactly.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, it is kind of nice. I mean, we go every once in a while if there is a probate concern, but yes, that is the ideal side of this, is helping families to completely simplify everything and avoid the probate court system.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the probate court system, because that's one of the things with estate planning that is often misunderstood, right? They go, oh, you know what? I'm fine. I have a will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I respond to that?
Please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is not what we want to hear as estate planning attorneys.
And it's not what I want to hear as a financial person that thinks about legacy and succession planning either.
Exactly.
Right? Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. You're a big piece of this as the financial advisor. But a will is what we call a one-way ticket to probate court.
That's exactly
right.
So
it's a will is only valid if it goes through the probate court system. And we want to help our clients and their families avoid probate entirely.
That's the whole point.
Yes. And so typically we are recommending either a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust if we're talking more on the elder law side.
Sure.
And then we want to make sure that all of their assets in some way fund into that trust by naming the trust as beneficiary or owner on all of those assets.
Sure.
Yeah.
So key point there, folks. Key point. Will is nothing more than saying, hey, I'm going to go to court.
100%.
And you're not here to go to court, but your family is, and that holds everything up, and it's costly, it's timely, and quite frankly, you've got grieving loved ones.
Yep.
Let's make sure we take care of them in advance, and that is where let's talk a little bit more about trusts, revocable living trusts especially, because that's the advanced planning one. I call it fun, but you and I are probably dorks like this. We think what we do is really fun. We love what we do. We talk about it every day. Not everyone wants to talk about their death every day.
No.
But we definitely, what's easier to talk about is, or what's even more difficult to talk about is incapacitation, our inability to make future decisions. And that is the long-term care side of things. Yeah. And both of those can be solved by, while you're of good, sound mind and body, having a conversation and putting together a revocable living trust. So talk a little bit about why you're such a big fan, like I am, of the revocable living trust.
Yeah, absolutely. So a revocable living trust, we are huge fans of it because it allows you to avoid probate, but also set things up for all of the potential what ifs that your family could encounter throughout the years. So the way that a revocable trust particularly usually works is that mom and dad are usually the trustees on there, meaning not a whole lot is going to change as far as control of the assets during your lifetime.
Right.
And then you're naming somebody that you entirely trust as the successor trustees to take care of things once you're gone. Mm-hmm. We definitely want there to be contingencies involved in that trust. So if that person can't act as successor, who would you trust to, act as alternate?
So you have secondaries and tertiaries, which is a cool term that we don't get to use very often.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Tertiary. Yeah. People don't often know what that means.
Yeah. That means third.
Yeah. There you go. And then as far as the beneficiary designations, you can make it as simple or as complex as you would like it to be.
Yeah.
If people are naming their child, but their child has some kind of disabilities, we want to make sure there's supplemental needs language in there so they don't get kicked off of benefits. If they're concerned that child may predecease them, we're making sure that their assets go to the grandchildren or a spouse, or if there aren't grandchildren or a spouse, a charity or something along those lines. Right. So it's just creating all of those, okay, if this happens, then what? So that hopefully you aren't needing to amend that document on a regular basis.
And that's key, is that this is really a legal document and it is a contract. It completely avoids the probate process if funded properly, which we can get into, of course. But the key thing is your wishes are known in advance. You've had this conversation in advance. You've documented the conversation. There's no need to get the courts involved at this point.
Exactly. If everything goes properly with a revocable trust, it should be totally straightforward. It should be totally private. The only people that should be involved are really your loved ones and the trusted individuals.
You
that
hit
you're
another
naming.
cool topic there, the private piece.
Yes.
So probate is actually very public and by intentionally public, right? There has to be public announcements about the passing because people have to be able to come out of their woodworks and, make claims to estates.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
not with a trust.
Yes. Yeah. So when your assets go through probate, everything is completely public knowledge.
Yeah.
Your nosy neighbor could look up what assets you had during your lifetime, which isn't something that I think anybody wants.
I don't think so.
And creditors have the ability to come after your assets before they get distributed to your spouse, your kids, whoever it may be. So that gets completely avoided if you have a revocable living trust.
Yeah. Very important. There's a few different things. It's the timing, it's the commitment, and really the monetary side of it too, because when you go through probate, you're going to have the court costs associated with that as well. And anything that there's delays, anytime there's delays, it's costly. It's costly for everybody. And then it's really hard to be very specific in a will about where things go, right? Because it's still subject to the court to determine, is this will valid? Can you name this as a valid beneficiary? Is there somebody that has the right claim as well, right? These are things that could technically, your own words in a will might not be considered valid by the judge.
Exactly. Yeah.
So kind of scary.
Yes. Very scary.
Yeah. Whereas a trust, not that way. And one of the cool things I think you can do about trust, a real world example, we have two children, Stacy and I. They're 19 and 16 right now. Your kids are how old? You
I do not have kids yet.
No kiddos yet. No kiddos yet. All right. So we want the money to go to our children. We do. But think back when you were 19 and 16, young Longhorn days, right? Were you ready to inherit money from parents?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you didn't make all the right. You have to learn. You have to go through some stuff, right? Some life. You have to understand how to pay bills. I don't want even my 19-year-old who's very responsible. AJ, if you're listening, you're very responsible. But my 16-year-old, he loses his earbuds like every week. He's not ready, right? We have to make sure. So I have a contingency on there that says until they're 25, there's a different trustee. Exactly. All the money's still theirs. But if this was just a probate situation, at 18, it's technically theirs.
Yep.
And that's not
right. No,
that's not right. In most situations, it's not right, right? We don't make good decisions all the time. It's okay. I still don't make good decisions all the time.
Right. Yeah. So what that's called a testamentary trust. And 25 does not have to be the age, but it does make a lot of sense. And I would say that's typically the default, somewhere between 25 and 30.
Yeah.
But as far as if something's going through the courts, if there's not already testamentary language within that will, they're just going to choose the age of 18. And the court is going to be overseeing that conservatorship of that money until that child turns 18 too.
Which means whoever is the person that's looking after your child, which hopefully isn't the courts or something like that, maybe it's a parent or a brother or sibling, they have to go to the court for permission to get the monies.
Absolutely.
For their behalf.
Yes.
Very, very frustrating.
Yes.
And that's not what we want. That is really... That's a legal conversation. There's a financial element to it as well. We want to make sure our loved ones are taken care of if we're not around to take care of them. We want to be here.
Yeah.
But if we can't be, we want these things taken care of.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, and I'm sure you guys see this, what's the typical age, average age people come in and say they need to get to estate planning?
Okay. Yeah. It's typically later in life.
Right.
If ever. But yeah, I mean, I would say I'm meeting with a decent amount of people in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
That's usually what we're seeing. I've seen people in their 90s as well with nothing in place. And then it's almost a rush scenario because they're telling me they're not in good health and they're 94. But yeah, typically we are seeing people that are 70s, 80s. And then I start to wonder, if they had children, they never had guardianship provisions set up within a will.
Right.
They never had anything in place if their kids would have been minors and inherited. So it's concerning. At least they've made it to that point and nothing has gone wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, typically we are meeting with people when they're much later in life.
So I'm in the minority having my teenagers already protected.
Yes, you are. And good for you.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, and we want everyone. The reason I'm saying this isn't because I'm, bragging here. It's what we do for a living. It makes it very easy for us to understand these ramifications because we teach it to other people. I know who's in our audiences when we teach it because they're in our audiences, right? And we don't get a lot of folks that are in their 30s and in their 40s that have assets and IRAs and 401ks. These are things that will go to your 18-year-old child at the wrong time. And we need to have these conversations for that what if, even then.
Right.
And I just don't think we think about it.
No, and one big thing that I don't think people really ever think about unless they're like you or myself, they're in the industry in some way, are power of attorney documents.
I was hoping we'd get to this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So when you guys do your process, and I'd love to spend a little bit of time on that too, because I think you guys are very good with your process and how you do things.
Thank you.
But when you do a package for somebody and somebody comes in and they want to talk about estate planning, right? They might think they might, in fact, their first word is, I probably need to work on my will. And then you go, no, you really want to work on a trust, right?
Exactly.
When you do that, though, it comes with some other cool little documents that are
absolutely.
very important.
Yes.
So let's go through those a little bit for people.
Yeah. So typically, if we're doing a package, that includes a revocable living trust, what's called a pour-over will, which is the last will and testament. We always want to include that. And then financial durable power of attorney document and a healthcare durable power of attorney document. And those are so important that I would recommend everybody 18 and older has financial power of attorney and healthcare power of attorney in place. The reason that that's so important is because if you ever have the inability to pay bills or handle your finances or anything along those lines, you want to make sure that somebody is legally able to act on your behalf and help you out. And if you don't have that lined up, then really the only alternative is conservatorship in terms of a financial power of attorney or guardianship in terms of a healthcare power of attorney.
Which means going to the courts.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, we're trying to avoid going to probate court.
Going to courts where we can. We don't want courts making those decisions. So I'm in the financial community. It is what I do. I manage people's IRAs. I manage people's retirement plans. I know their beneficiary is their oldest son and maybe split with their daughter, right?
Right.
Unless there is a durable power of attorney on file, I can know this family. I can have all the conversations I want with them. I know for a fact they want me to help them get money out of their IRA to help them make this decision. But if their kiddos call me, I am not able to legally do that without that document.
Exactly.
That is how important that is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we will see that people have seen an attorney years and years ago prior to things changing a little bit.
Yeah.
And oftentimes financial power of attorney documents will be what we call springing rather than immediate.
Yeah.
That can cause issues for the family as well. So what a springing power of attorney is that your agent for your financial power of attorney cannot act until you have been declared incapacitated by 2 licensed physicians.
Sure.
That causes issues for your family because then they have to cart you around to different doctors, get those doctor certifications, provide those to financial institutions before they can act on your behalf. And if you're not doing well, that really, really throws a wrench into
It does.
things.
And meanwhile, all you really want is your kiddos to be doing what they can to help make these decisions because it's tough for everybody.
Exactly.
The last thing we want to deal with is a legal form, legal document, or financial concerns when we're trying to make sure our loved ones are best taken care of.
Exactly.
That's the tough part. So then the other document you mentioned, the medical power of attorney.
Yes.
Equally as important.
Yes.
I don't have a doctor sitting here with me, so he can't tell me how important that one is. So we're going to have to make do with what we know about that.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So the healthcare power of attorney, I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, my spouse can automatically make those decisions for me.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Right.
Obviously, if you're at a particular hospital and they know you and they're allowing you to act on your spouse's behalf, that's awesome. But legally, that's not really the case. Especially your children are not able to act on your behalf, or your parents, if you're 18, are not able to act on your behalf legally if you do not have a healthcare power of attorney in place. It's so important to have that in place because, God forbid, you get into a car accident, you aren't able to verbally make your medical decisions. somebody else that you care about and trust needs to make those decisions for you.
Right.
And if that's not in place, then your family will have to go through getting a guardianship on your behalf.
Right. And really, can the medical community make those decisions for you? Only if it's life-saving.
Only if it's life-saving.
Right.
And you also want to have that type of thing in place.
Right.
So that's a healthcare directive or a living will, basically stating if there are no, if it's not a reasonable likelihood that I'm going to recover or improve, do you still want those things to happen to you? And the majority of the time people say, no, I don't want to be kept on life support if I'm persistently unconscious or in a vegetative state.
Right.
And so setting those wishes out in advance is very important, so that doctors aren't just keeping you alive when you're not yourself anymore.
Sure. All right. So somber topic, hard topic to talk about. And the reason I say it like this is because I know I have a process in what we do here at Serenity Wealth where we guide people through these kind of complicated conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And you do as well. We know these things are going to come up. You have to plan for them. How do you guys handle that and bring those up, make it an easy conversation to have? Because people have to feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
These are not fun topics to discuss.
Right.
But if you don't have them, something's going to happen and eventually, and somebody's got a plan and it's not your plan.
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being a good listener.
Yeah.
I mean, sitting back, allowing them to tell you what's bothering them, what they're concerned about for the future. That's really the biggest piece from my end that I've learned is not stepping in and throwing your knowledge at them or the legal side of it at them, but instead just sitting back and listening to them, and just being an ear for them and for their loved ones.
Yeah, because it's all about what the end goal is. It's their end goal when they come to see you isn't really to walk away with a trust.
No,
place.
They don't care about those documents.
Yeah.
They want peace of mind.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing. It's what it does for you.
Exactly.
And that's why you have to have these conversations.
Yep.
It's so critically important. So, and that's, I think, why you probably enjoy having these conversations with people, because it's easy for us to talk about incapacitation and passing away. We know it's inevitable. We know we can help people with those things. But it doesn't bother us talking about it because I guess we're just used to talking about it. But it's kind of fun to have these conversations. I have a lot of fun when I talk to people about this, unless it's crisis mode. Then
Absolutely.
That's awful. That's very emotional. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Get the Kleenexes out for those strategy sessions that involves. But when we're doing it in advance, those are actually pretty fun conversations. You get to laugh a little bit about, decisions.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Meeting new people, making new friends. Yeah.
It's kind of, it can be fun. So I encourage people to have those conversations in advance. Give these guys a call so they can reach out on your website, right?
Yes.
That's probably the best way. All your contact information is there.
Yes.
So you guys are in the heart of St. Charles, right there off of 364. Pretty easy to get to.
Yep.
So what's your website?
Our website is beckelderlaw.com.
We'll have it here on our Spotify channel and our YouTube channel as well. So awesome. Yeah, very important conversations. Legal side, financial side, all very important, very interwoven together. Not everything can be solved from the financial side alone. Not everything can be solved from the legal side alone. So you have to make sure you have these conversations, because ultimately it's your wishes that matter. Because if you don't have a plan, somebody else has it for you.
Exactly.
And the government's plan stinks, doesn't it?
Yeah. We don't want that.
No. Probate avoidance is really what we're trying to get after, right?
Yep.
The key here, folks, avoid those situations. Plan in advance. I think it's the most important message we can give people today.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Allow us to help you plan in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming in, talking about a very difficult topic that is so important for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right. So, folks, key takeaway: avoid probate, avoid things that you don't want to participate in. Okay. We don't want to go to the courts. We don't want permission to do things. We don't want our loved ones to have to go get permission and provide documents. We need our loved ones to be taken care of. We need to put the plan in place in advance. And folks, it's never too late to put that plan in advance. If you put it off and you've got a loved one that's struggling, or you're struggling, or you don't know what the answer is, give a professional a call. Give Caroline a call. give us a call here at Serenity Wealth. We can help. We can point you in the right direction. We can give you some guidance. We can give you some support. That is why we're here. But I assure you, folks, the people I talk to who are dealing with crisis management, they're not having as enjoyable of a conversation as those who come in and want to talk about planning in advance. It is never too late, but the earlier you plan, the better that plan is, and the more impactful it is to your beneficiaries. And really, the better you feel, the peace of mind that you get to walk away with, knowing that you're taken care of and that your loved ones are taken care of and that you have a plan in place, it makes you just have a big sigh of relief. Okay? Get that sigh of relief. It's important. Avoid probate, avoid cost of losing control. Keep the control with you and your family. That's what estate planning, succession planning, legacy, that's what it's all about. There's a legal side of it. There's a financial context to it as well. We have to make sure it's in sync. That's peace of mind. That's financial serenity, and you deserve it too. Every weekend right here, Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., News Talk STL or Serenity Wealth Now, social medias, outlets, and on Spotify.
Serenity Now!
This is Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Request a free copy of Chris's latest book, The New Holistic Retirement, by visiting SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.